Last we left our heroes, you departed from Darkvale Harbor en route to Karden through the tundra and wilderness of northern Candorne. The vast majority of your 14-day trek passed swiftly and without incident. However, there were a few minor bumps in the road. Only 3 days out from Darkvale, an overwhelming hunger surged within your gunslinger. In an almost addictive withdrawal state, DeCrane realized just how topped up he'd become in close proximity to your former traveling companions. As you all settled into sleep one night, DeCrane slipped away into the night in search of sustenance. An hour's search brought him to a burrow where a family of rabbits slept. In his haste to feed, he awoke the sleeping bunnies and was only treated to a partial meal. Thankfully, out of eyeshot, as he discarded the husks that remained and returned to the unaware party. Again, this hunger crept as you traveled south, and again, DeCrane was forced to feed. Through some convincing, he slipped from your group towards a cattle farm, taking energy from the herd that had amassed there. When he had finally sustained himself and the rest of the party had caught up, there were some question marks as to the purpose of this sudden detour, but they passed, and eventually you did find another night's camp. Finally, within a day's walk of the city walls, you found yourselves alongside 3 ponds, and beneath the bright sun, Augustus caught a glint of something shiny at the bottom of one. A little further investigation revealed a second shiny object in an adjacent pond, and he dove in after it. Swimming to the bottom, he found the edge of a submerged gauntlet of some beautiful metalworks, untouched by rust and time. With some heaving and hoeing, the small Harengon began to free the gauntlet, which in itself was almost as large as him. With a final great pull, it lifted free, and so did the arm it was attached to, when suddenly its fingers twitched and came to life, grabbing Augustus in a crushing fist. The remainder of an armored form rose from the sediment beneath the pond, and you fell into combat with this golem that you found was made of god steel. Despite its heavy signs of battleware missing its left arm and leg, your mundane attacks did not make a dent to its protective armor. Magic had little effect, and fire had none as it continued its assault, slowly but surely pulling itself free, drawing you to it with a magnetic pulse. However, with one final assault, nearly sending Enid to a watery grave, the last dregs of energy it had used to reanimate faded, and it collapsed in a heap. You gathered yourselves, rested, and were able to harvest a good amount of this incredibly powerful and expensive material component to be used as bartering chips or with the right smithy to craft an item of godseal for your own use. After a final rest, you made your way into the capital of Candorne, the sprawling metropolis of Karden, the major hub of trade, industry, and aristocracy, and home to the King Albert McCairn, the rightful ruler by Kieran's divine lineage. The sheer expanse of the city and its constant flow of people was somewhat overwhelming, but you managed to make your way through the various districts and across the river in the heart of the city into the aptly named River Ward, and then to the multi-story exterior of the Queen's Gambit. This gentleman's club was where you'd first met one another, and where you'd set off on this adventure prior to our encounter in Grill. As you stepped up to the stone walk-up, the door opened, and out stepped Isaac Everhart, the Immortal Man's emissary, who now beckons you in to follow him inside as we begin today. Already several paces within the foyer, you rush to follow Isaac and head inside. The exterior was this brilliant ruddy brick, and that same color is found within the interior walls here. You step beyond the foyer and past a reception desk and concierge who gives you a nod and head tilt in Isaac's direction. Immediately over the threshold, you find a large sitting room of rich leather sofas and armchairs, cozy rugs, and a half-dozen nooks and crannies filled with an assortment of figures of various races. Wrought iron chandeliers hang from tall ceilings, and light spills in through the many windows framed by thick green curtains. The light catches in the cloud of cigar and cigarette smoke that filters throughout the room, and where the walls are not adorned with tapestry, windows, or artwork, they're otherwise filled with bookcases and bar carts of dozens of decanters of presumably expensive liquor. The patrons pay you little mind beyond a perfunctory scan of scrutinizing eyes before returning to their hand of cards, move of dragon's chess, or to the various novels and writings. Isaac strides along the left hall and to a switchback staircase to a second floor, and begins bounding up two at a time. The second floor, as you follow, is similar to the first, beautifully adorned with rich wood textures, iron and flame, though in the heart you do see a raised stage and a grand piano. Around the room are a half-dozen balcony boxes for private games, discussions, or viewing of performances. The stairs, however, continue up another level, and Isaac leaves no time to dally as he continues to that third floor. Immediately, this third floor opens up brightly to a 20-foot-tall ceilings with various small skylights and a central domed skylight of stained glass and lead design. The room itself is part conservatory, part library. An iron-railed balcony wraps around the space, creating an upper floor wrap-around balcony, and each wall is filled with books. busts that are tucked into alcoves, a small number of bar carts, writing desks in various places, and around the room, sunken seating areas framed by rows of garden beds and tall potted plants. There are 4 patrons in the seating area immediately to the right of the stairs as you come up to this 3rd floor, and they glance at you up from their books and jotting notes. One is sipping a teacup while reading a newspaper. Isaac quickly says to all of your highly perceptive ears, he strides up and says, Nox Imperium. And the 4 immediately begin to gather their readings, their things, stand up, and head down the stairs, passing you as they go by with not much of a glance, just on their way. Isaac gestures to the area the 4 men had just vacated and says, please, have a seat. He then crosses to the middle of the room beneath the domed skylight with his back to you and is kind of fiddling away with something. Do you all sit down?
Yeah, Augustus will sit on the floor.
Enid will join.
The 2 of you take a seat on the floor and you look about the space, and it's very comfortable. It's a little cool outside, and in here, though, it is warm, it is tempered, is quite lovely, in fact. It's actually really nice to also be back around like plant life and just have that kind of natural smell. It's just like a comforting return. DeCrane and Andy, do you guys also sit at the this kind of sitting area? Do you do anything else?
Yeah. I'll just join him.
Yeah,
Everybody
sitting very like fidgety.
Sure. You take a seat across from one another at the sitting area. I'd like everyone to make a perception check for me.
You got it. Ooh, almost in that one. 13.
Okay.
This is the first time I did not roll a trash perception check.
Sick.
I just don't remember what my skill is for perception. Oh, it's only a +1. 16.
Okay.
I rolled above a 10. That's an accomplishment.
Mine is also 16.
Okay.
I rolled a 15. And I
See?
think, I'm just checking, I think my perception's +5.
Well, that is a DC 20, so I'd like to know if that's accurate.
Just pulling it up. It is +5. It is +5.
Sick.
All right. Here we go. Okay, so all of you with decent perceptions, as you're sitting here waiting for a minute, 2 minutes pass, you're noticing Isaac is kind of fiddling, doing something, but you can't see exactly what it is. There's plants in the way, and his back is to you. However, what you first begin to all notice is this just faint kind of tingling sensation. Not uncomfortable, but just this sudden kind of chill that works from the top of your head, down the spine, all the way to the bottom of the foot before dissipating. And as you all kind of have that faint realization, each of you in turn begin to notice points in the room where you see a number of runes begin to not even glow, but just appear. As if etched within the stonework and just kind of revealing themselves as if the stone is sinking away in spots on the stone floor or in the kind of stone archways, and even in not in stone necessarily, in some of the metalworks and in some of the wood of some of these planter boxes. Everywhere, kind of all around, you can see these little runic points that are slowly kind of revealing themselves.
Is there anything about them that, like, from a quick glance, I can tell?
Make an Arcana check.
Ooh, very good. 23.
You can tell very quickly that they are all more or less, at least from the ones that you can see in your immediate vicinity, which is like 2 or 3. They're identical, so they all seemingly are linked in some way, likely a large-scale enchantment of some kind that is kind of, as you're watching and seeing more and more and more, slowly starting to kind of cover the space. Without getting like really close and really analyzing, like you could take a minute if you want to with that roll to get a greater understanding of like what the spell might be or what the effect might be. If you want to, you did roll high enough, but it'll cost you like a minute or two of focusing on it.
Yeah, at least like a minute, and even if I just get like the beginnings of a school of magic, or I just don't want to cast detect magic right now.
Mm-hmm. With a 23 Arcana. Is that what you rolled?
Yep.
Yeah, over like the next 2 to 3 minutes, and it's starting to grow. Like kind of like, how long are we going to wait here in this kind of silence? And it hits that kind of point of a little bit of awkwardness as you're waiting, but it gives you the time to like focus on this element, this arcane element, and it is an interesting array of enchantments in one rune. And it's something that you've not really seen before. It's like taking multiple spells and condensing into a singular point in almost what would be incredible arcana craft to like work all of this into these minute small spaces in these kind of ringed textures and lines and all these very small runes. You gather the bulk is a warding enchantment to protect from, the various teleportations and listening in and all these kind of divination school. Like it would be very much protecting from that. So there's a divination and abjurative kind of effect going on here. But it seems like there are multiple spells kind of overlaid in this space, or multiple effects at the very least, kind of protecting this space from exactly what you would expect in like a private conversation. As that takes you a few minutes to kind of suss out, and all of you starting to get that little awkward pause, Decrane, your analytical eyes been scanning and looking, probably watching Isaac quite a bit, but unfortunately unable to really decipher what it is he's doing. You do notice the runes along with everybody else, but that's not necessarily your forte. But what you notice is there's another figure in the room who did not leave with the first four. The upper balcony, kind of hard to see, tucked kind of back in a little bit of shadow and obscured by the various plants and things. There's a singular figure with a stack of books on a small table to his right. You can see he's currently writing in a leather-bound notebook or journal, and as you have honed in and focus, you can hear the faint scratching of quill ink on parchment. And with your kind of heightened senses, you also smell the subtle scent of an aromatic pipe tobacco that is kind of drifting lazily down, and you're able to kind of sense this other presence. And it's about this point that Isaac finishes whatever he was working on, presumably enacting this wording. He returns and stands at attention in a militaristic fashion between you and the stairs that you came up on. And another moment passes before Decrane, you're the first to catch this. You hear a book gently close, and the figure up top begins to descend from the upper balcony. All of you can hear stepping down the spiral staircase in this sort of regal bearing. A male figure wearing polished black leather boots and black breeches, a red vest adorned with golden buttons over a white linen shirt with a starch-high imperial collar. A long red peacoat is slung over one arm, where he also carries a stack of books, shoulder-length black hair that grays at the temples and is peppered throughout kind of a wavy flow. Rings adorn each hand, and a chained necklace hangs around his neck, but the base sits tucked beneath the vest. His features, as he grows a little closer, are hardened like marble, or sharp and angular like a hawk's. His nose is pointed, and even his brow feels sharp somehow. The lines of his closely cropped beard are likewise incredibly clean, not a hair out of place. As he steps his final foot down onto the stone floor, and you can't quite fully make him out. You're seeing him in bits and pieces as he's walking from like one side to the opposite side of this conservatory through trees and various plants. You hear him speak. In 1066, I came to this city for the first time since the inauguration of King Carrick. In the 2 centuries that spanned my absence, much had changed here. From a simple mining town to a metropolis, a home of culture, art, and industry, such that this realm had not seen since the days of Kieran himself. But on this admittedly uninteresting trip, I was wandering through the city, admiring the expansive capabilities of man, when I came to this very building. It had been a noble's homestead, but debts to the wrong people had cost him and his family dearly. When he was unwilling to part with his gold or sell his home to save his family, the guild came to collect in blood. After such tragedy, the manor was said to be cursed by greed and despair, and as such it sat empty for many years. However, when I set my eyes on it, I was so taken with it, I set out to purchase it on the spot. I was warned of its history. However, I am not the man to fear superstition nor suffer the scorn of thieves. And if a long life has taught me anything, it is to act where others would waver. All this he says as he approaches the sitting area, and as he kind of finally stands directly before the 4 of you, his mouth curls into a surprisingly warm smile. But each of you glean an erudite kind of light to his eyes that remains cold and calculating. He opens his hands, his one hand, the other still holding his books and cloak. This is why you were selected. You acted where others would look the other way or flee. And thank you all for coming as swiftly as you could. I'm sure you have many questions, and I have some for you as well. You've met my associate, Isaac Everhart, my ward, emissary, and trusted ally of many years. What you say to me can be likewise said to him. There are no secrets between us, and in time, I hope to achieve the same with each of you. I am known to certain patrons beyond this wall as the Immortal Man. However, as a gesture of trust, you may call me by my given name, Ludimir Nostov. To earn trust is a long road. Yet, we now know one another, and one less secret, thus one step closer to trust. He steps down across the sitting area and strides into an armchair at the other side, sets his books down on the table alongside his coat, and he pulls a pipe out from a pocket and begins to fill it with this rich, sweet-smelling tobacco as he crosses one leg over the other and sits more lounging with a look to each of you, individually, a long, paused look to catch your eye. Now, to your assignment. Tell me everything.
Is it cursed?
Not to my knowledge. In some 70 some odd years, no curses have befallen me.
So cool.
Enid leads over to her brother and goes, I thought he was invisible.
No, he's immortal. He's a immortal man. I told you, invisible and immortal is different things. So we got there, and I worked in the fields for a bit, and it was tough. But I don't mind working with my hands, so that's not too bad. And then this girl's best invisible imaginary friend was like a spooky monster thing, and it attacked and it killed this guy, and then it was so scary. And then DeCrane threatened a man named Hunter, and that guy was gonna hunt, and so he really aptly named Hunter. And then there was a dragonborn. I'd never seen a dragonborn before. It was crazy. And then does anyone else want to jump in here? I feel like my missing detail.
Yeah, I mean, there's I'm not sure how much of it the situation you knew already. I have a feeling there's a little bit more, maybe even than we do. The town was not going to be very kind to this girl. She was in danger, and immediately Iconoclast showed up, which is concerning on their own. And then we helped get her out of there. And Cal as well. And it was we don't really know what happened in the town after that. It could have been anything.
Remember Cal was like, I'll call them in the morning, maybe they could show up because that other Arcana class died, but then they just showed up without anyone even calling them, and they weren't even that close, so I don't know what tipped them off. We also got a spooky Augustus will root through his pack and pull out the little sample that we took. And then he'll get up off the floor and then just kind of...
Already Isaac is at your side.
Oh!
Before you even come, like, you stand up and he's already standing there, and he puts a hand out. Gives a nod, and he steps over to Ludimir and kind of holds it up. And the two of them kind of look up and they hold it up to the light. And it is still, like, faintly kind of moving as they go to it, like one of these little tendrils kind of and touches out at the at Isaac's hand. They both kind of stare at it for a moment before Ludimir looks back to you, Andy, and just says, you may continue, please.
And that time that it takes to like give them the stuff, and that fact that she and Augustus were both kind of just word vomiting what was happening, she realizes that we don't know whose side these people are on.
They're on our side. He just said we're friends. We gotta trust each other.
They're also really cool.
Name. It's got a pipe.
We don't know exactly what it is that happened here. I tried to look into it a little bit, pray on it, and she's not doing anything on purpose. This isn't. They were going to hang her, and I'm not sure where it is, what your views are of she like is self-consciously like adjusts her belt. I'm not sure what your views are of the arcane magic. It does seem like it's somewhat in that disposition, but it doesn't matter. It wouldn't have mattered. She didn't do any of it on purpose. It wouldn't have been right.
I'm personally against hanging children. I just want to say I'm not for it. Actually, I think they didn't want to hang her. We have to be fair to them. They just wanted to burn her. Yeah, they wanted to burn her alive. And I'm also against burning someone alive, just to also put that on the record. Do you know anything about scary moths that form a face and then taunt you with something like something shadows and then eclipse is very sinister and scary and then they burst apart?
I have not had that experience, no. But do tell more about that.
Nettie, do you mind explaining what we saw, like with all the dust by that girl's windowsill?
Oh yeah, there was like moth debris. It was really gross. It was all over the place. It smelled. Really bad smell. Gave us bad vibes. Lots of bad memories. Not great. I don't suggest it.
And then when we got on the boat, everyone was frantically trying to stop the Arcano class from chasing us, so I took the girl on the boat, and then all the moths came and they formed into a face. I can't remember. It was really scary. They said something like no matter how hard you run, the shadows will always find your light. The eclipse. I didn't say it right, but it was something like that. And then my sister smelled something scary in a town that had a cool waterfall. So.
Oh yeah. In case that comes around, I guess we should probably explain that one too. Before though, I'm sorry, and I understand. You're the one who put us on this path. I need to know what it is, what your opinion is of all this, before we tell you where she went.
First of all, you need not be afraid. I am no enemy to the arcane practitioners of this world. I have been around far too long to have such foolish superstition or belief. I have seen works of magic do wonders, and works of divine heal grave wounds. No side is better than the other. It is what you do with it that matters. And this is more what I care about in general, in fact. Your choices, I find them interesting. Immediately, you stepped in and put yourself in a great deal of harm's way. Stepping on the toes of the Arcana class is not for the wise, even if you are innocent. Before we continue, I must ask, on what intuition did you decide to trust and help this young girl and this dragonborn you speak of?
Actually, DeCrane, maybe you should speak on that because you were the guy who shot that guy's foot first. DeCrane, I said you shot that guy's foot, DeCrane.
No. Well, I have little patience for people who spew gossip and rumors about innocent individuals. That was a warning shot. But if I see him again, probably won't miss.
A warning shot is wise. Now, to my question, on what intuition was it that you connected yourselves to this girl and Dragonborn?
I think we were just drawn to the victim, drawn to someone who has done nothing wrong.
I appreciate this insight. Thank you. And Andromeda, if I may. Please, do not fear my intentions. When I set you on this path, I did not know where it will lead, beyond the girl, of course. Did not know who or what you would encounter. I will explain in greater detail another day, I believe. But all we knew was something grave would happen in Grill, that if it were not averted, could lead Vigil into a greater darkness. Through your actions, it would appear, the dawn rose once more. So, if you would indulge, when you departed the city, the town, in the night, you made your way to boats by the river. What was the plan, and where did you go?
I mean, it wasn't entirely our plan. I'll say that to start is, apparently something Cal had been planning for a long time. He had contacts in Darkvale that could at least get them safe and away. The power for the girl, it was big. It was incredible. But it could be dangerous. I mean, it proven dangerous. And Cal's thought was to get them somewhere with less people. Less either casualties or people to get scared and report exactly what it was that already happened. People got scared and they reacted.
And if I may ask another clarification, pardon, or the initial explanation was an imaginary friend?
Well, that's what she called it. Yeah, that's what she called it. But I mean, she's a 14-year-old girl. It was like a manifestation of whatever kind of energy source is either within her or channeled through her. I'm not sure. It was a lot, and it was everything. She didn't have control.
And it was like preying on her desires or fears. She almost described it like she used to have an imaginary friend, and then it's almost like this power or something took over.
The mage, the Baern mage, was trying to get into her head when it happened, and
she didn't want him to.
She was already put under, so she was very much not in control of her faculties. But she said she panicked, and that's what became of it. But she didn't even know that any of that had happened when she woke up. We'd explain it to her.
One final clarification before please continue your tale. What do you make of either of these entities? Is the imaginary creature, and he holds up the ooze in the vial, connected to this? Or is this a separate entity?
I felt from seeing it and seeing the moss with Nettie that it was almost like another party who was interested in it. It seemed, I don't know, just felt like a message. It took all the effort to make a face and then share a really spooky message. But I'll be honest, I don't know if it was for me or for her. Though the moss were gathering at her window, so that's why I kind of thought it was more her thing.
He tucks the vial inside his breast pocket of his vest, and Isaac kind of returns to his kind of position beside the stairs. And he sits back and just kind of gestures to continue where you left off.
I don't even remember where we left off.
We got attacked by a scary troll thing. Then we managed to defeat it.
Cal did a lot of the work, but yeah, we didn't die. That's impressive.
Andy started secretly trying to teach the girl magic.
Well, not teach it. I was trying to help her focus to try to let off the valve a little, to try to, I'm not sure, it just seemed like it would get, she explained it like overwhelmingly full, and then it would break out. So I thought if we tried to give her little bits of relief, and maybe it wouldn't happen again. Also, she was going to try whether or not we helped her at this point. So I felt at least a little bit of duty to make sure she did it at least a little bit responsibly. Nothing big, although it turned pretty big.
And she did go kind of like comatose when she was on the boat, and then she got a little tense, and we were trying to keep her cool while the trolls and the alligator or the crocodiles were attacking, and she passed out, but she was okay after that. Nothing that scary happened. And then, yeah, when you did teach her the magic, then it felt like she almost irradiated our bones. Irradiated's probably too smart of a word for me to know.
No, but it could have been bad. We arrived in Darkvale, and Cal had contacts. Some very interesting man. Why can't Leah remember his name? Andy would remember.
Captain
Mr. Krabs.
Close.
I just like his voice.
Just
Captain Daedric Verglass.
Damn it.
Verglass.
This episode.
And they
What a guy.
Yeah, he was cool.
So cool.
They're going to take her out to the ice fields. And also while we were there was completely separately a murder of 3 people. And I don't know if that's ever going to turn up again. It probably will. It was this boat that had like some magic items on it. And they were all gone. And these 3 people were all dead. And I don't know if that's ever going to get back to us or anyone else.
And
we were just present in the general area before it happened, but we weren't
But the
involved.
strange thing is, we smelt something before the murders. But it turns out that smell may have been the decomposing bodies or something connected with the killings. We are not sure.
Nettie smelled it, to be fair. Like, I didn't smell it. Nettie did.
Yes, sorry.
And how would you categorize this scent, Neddy?
Honestly, scary. I don't want to go too much into details, but it just gave me bad vibes, reminded me of stuff from, I don't know, some sort of like past. I don't know. We don't really know our past, but it's a long story. But yeah, it wasn't a great smell, and it just gave me really bad vibes.
And we talked whatever made up the town's local, not even a sheriff, just like a guy everyone liked. We talked him out of involving higher authorities because it seemed scary and bad, and the word iconoclast was tossed around a few times, and we're trying to get away from them at this point. So it's yeah, and then we left.
No, that was likely a wise decision. Do you have the name of the ship upon which these murders took place?
Yeah.
It was like it was a cool name. Did I write it down? The Kingsman? With the Duke, right?
So
Is that
good.
right?
You're so fucking
close.
Yeah. King Smith?
Kingsman? King Smith?
Yeah.
I can't read my own writing. Yes, and the Duke is the name of the guy. And the other two people were... Oh my god.
Fingers missing, clean cuts, residue with bruises.
Mina?
They're all manacled together.
Mina and... I did not get the other person's name written down.
Also, the wounds had a flaking of rust. I don't know if that means anything to you.
Through this like extra elements, he's begun to pull out the book and has been like jotting notes and elements into this journal, this like leather-bound book that he has. These extra elements he's been like adding to their own page, and you see he flips back anytime it goes back to like this previous discussion, and he like adds to something that he'd already kind of written up here. But please continue.
I was also just going to add that Ducrane had bowel distress and needed to go to a cow field. That was
You
on the way
I believe
back.
the matters are linked.
It's not for me to say. Ducrane?
It was more just to re-energize the cleanse.
In a good way. And then we got attacked by big, like a giant metal person that was in a little pond. And it almost killed us. It was bad. That one was more on us. That one was more on us for going somewhere with it, trying to touch a shiny thing.
I went in
I
and touched
almost
it.
died.
She almost died.
Yeah, it was close.
Almost is better than did.
Yeah.
If you
We're
could,
actually impressive, though. I just want to... I don't think we're coming off great. I'm just a little nervous. You dropped right off the top. You've been here 200 years. And so I'm a little flustered.
Honestly, all of these guys, I'm every day incredibly impressed. Everyone can pull their own weight in a way that, like, most people when they come together, there's always like someone who's kind of sucks, and you don't want to say it. It's surprisingly not the case here, actually.
It'd be too sweet. Just
Even
saying.
You watch it.
I'm just saying, he's always just one step behind.
He just kind of smiles at the kind of banter before returning to this
metallic creature that you faced off with. Where was this?
On the border.
It was like right outside of town.
No, it wasn't right outside of this town. It was like right near the border
It was a
of
day's travel, but not far.
Kinshire.
Right outside, a day's travel outside.
He notes that as well, in this journal.
We also have the gods iron we could show.
Godsteel.
Godsteel?
That was from the guy. If you wanted to present that from the same
God
encounter.
metal? Cool.
He kind of sits for a second, and like kind of flips back, reviews some of his notes. There's like
Oh wait, I forgot
long
something.
pause.
I forgot. There's something important about the people who died. They just got back from a
Raid in the spooky, scary place.
the ship where everyone died. It just came back from Gammalast. They said they just got a bunch of things from there, and so presumably they found something, and that's what it is that someone was after. Because all the magical stuff was gone. There was some. I didn't get to ask him about a lot of stuff because then Crane wounded his pride, and then we had to leave. But the few things I asked about tend to be like kind of cool in concept, but like not spectacular. They were just kind of interesting, like cleaning products and a spoon that could tell if you'd been poisoned. Like cool, but nothing like murder someone over. But we didn't get to the rest of the things. But they took everything, probably so that people wouldn't know what it is they were actually after.
He notes the last part, but you note, like, as you said, like they came back from Gammalast, like he like nodded, like knowingly, like
Okay.
that part was not a surprise to him. But the last part about them taking all of the magic items, he does jot that down. As he finishes jotting and kind of dots the period, he comes back to say, I find my tone can sometimes be misconstrued as curt or critical, so I preface this by saying in an antagonistic manner. Why did you leave the girl there? If you saw such potential power or threat, why leave her unsupervised and alone?
She wasn't entirely alone. I went with her, but I mean, that man was not going to leave her alone. We didn't have any way to help her. I tried everything I could, and just it didn't seem productive to, for lack of a better term, babysit when we potentially could try to find answers somewhere else to actually help her. I tried everything. It was a lot and terrifying, and came up relatively dry.
As I say, not critical. Curious as to your thought process. The power that you speak of that you saw within her. Could you do your best to describe what you ascertained?
It wasn't one kind of magic. It was all of the magics. And it was very bright. It was like a star. The energy of something unmeasurable. But I'm not sure if it's within her, because it was all her entirely, or if it's just a window or something else. Too much. I couldn't look any longer because it was too much.
Interesting. The crane. What did you make of this girl's companion, Cal?
You don't meet too many people. I've traveled many places, and you don't meet too many people of character and integrity like him. I believe that he has the best interests of the girl at heart.
You speak very highly of him. I believe it.
I mean, it would have been very easy for him to have just turned her over to the townspeople, and let them have their way with her. But he never did. And I'm sure at considerable risk for himself.
An excellent dissertation. Now, I have two final questions of your assignment. Answer as much as you wish or as little. In any order you please. What do you believe is the best course of action forward?
For her?
There are many things at work here that you may seek answers to or that you may have opinion on. And I'm curious as to which you would choose first.
For her, my big thing was... This is a girl whose choices kept being taken from her. Whether she was cooped up in this attic of her house, they forced her to be asleep because they were scared. Now there was talk about imprisoning her and literally burning her alive. So I just wanted her to be free and do what she wanted to do while not being a threat to other people. And that's what Cal kind of thought that it'd be okay in the north. There's so much open space and she could work and control herself. So I really like the kid. I'd like to check on her some point in the next couple months or something like that, or just get word about her. But I feel like there's unfinished business with the moth thing, with the murders and Nettie's smell. And I feel like we maybe passed a test that you set for us, so now I want to see what the next test is.
Would any of you others oppose Augustus's decisions?
No.
I mean, yeah, I agree that there wasn't much we can do at this moment, but trying to... It's not answers we can find immediately. We need to see more things, find more people, find more nodules in order to figure it out where the connections are. We don't even know the points enough to figure out what's connecting them.
This I appreciate. The desire to find more answers, to know the work is not done. I have just as many questions as you, and I hope to see them through as well. Now, a potentially more grave question. Should the answers you come to find, say the power this young girl wields, the entity within, the threats we were forewarned about, there is a future where she could allow a festering wound of her shattered life to eat away at her humanity. Perhaps in isolation, she turns with newfound power back towards her abusers, returns the grill, sets it ablaze. What then would you do? Are you willing to do what needs to be done in dire circumstance?
I'll pull out the little bunny rabbit she made me, the little carving thing, and I'll look at it, and then I'll say something like, I mean, we'll do what needs to be done, but I don't think the girl who carved this would do that. And if she started to lose her humanity, we would find her and show her these bunnies before it got too late. I'm all about stopping someone before they do something bad, not putting them down after the worst has happened.
I was watching for DeCrane's face when he asked that question.
DeCrane, is there any either insights verbally you want to add, or is there any, would you like to try and hide any visual element, or try and mask your true intent, or do you agree with everything that was said?
I give her a slight nod, but my reaction is stone, nothing. revealed one way or the other.
As a DM, not for the rest of the player's knowledge, do you disagree with what Scott said to the point where I would need a deception check versus an insight check here? Would you do what needs to be done, or do you believe that this is not a feature that will ever come to pass?
No. I'm 100%. We get it done, even if it gets dirty.
Okay. Then I think a deception check versus an insight check is required for this circumstance.
Okay.
I think it's a fair.
I feel like I want Augustus to have shit investigation grade at 0. Excellent. Or insight. Fuck, I want insight bad. Oh, mine's really good.
Well, he's
And
doing
roll.
deception.
And is it deception, you said?
Mhm.
+1.
So 11. Insight from Andy.
Find my insight. I think it's a negative. It is, which puts it at a 12 because I rolled a 13 on the dice.
I don't think it's even necessarily a surprise.
That's why I was looking good.
DeCrane is certainly more logical. He would take the path of action if it was called for. You've seen it in action already. When push comes to shove, he pushes back. And that's the world that this future potential, this kind of hypothetical situation is leading to. And you both know Augustus is way too sunny and bright to talk about killing a girl, even in this hypothetical situation.
Don't even look at DeCrane. I would just be trying to stare at the Immortal Man as sincerely as I could.
Life's difficult, but that's what makes it worth living.
That part I would agree with. Yeah, we're totally on the same page.
He makes one kind of final notation before closing the notebook, and kind of taking a pause and looking about you all.
I've heard much from you all today. In such a short time, and I understand there are surely bits that have slipped through the cracks of memory. However, I trust everything you have said to me is truthful, your true feelings, your true experience. And I believe your desire to find the answers equals my own. And if anything, it has assured me of one greater thing. My faith in Isaac's judgment is well placed. I believe you all acted with a wholehearted belief that you were doing the right thing, regardless of consequence. Now, I would caution this in the future. Not all in this world are so noble. But such are lessons to be learned for yourselves. There are a few certainties in life, as I have come to find. But one is that those who need to cross paths with one another will do so when the time is right. You may call it fate or destiny or chance, but I choose to believe that balance is as much a natural force as the wind or the rain. Vigil herself wants what is best for her people. The gods have their agendas, monsters their desires, but Vigil, and I on her behalf, seek balance, justice, and peace. To those I choose to work with, serve their purpose. Some may even fall into the nefarious and gray areas, such as balance. However, those in my immediate employ, those who I seek to empower, to do what must be done, to balance the scales and fight for those who may otherwise fall, you, called by fate, destiny, and chance to be here and take up a call. If you so choose, I would offer you a chance to right the wrongs of this world, to find the answers you seek, to protect this realm from a fall into darkness from which there may be no dawn. If you choose to accept my offer, you'll be inducted as initiates into a long, storied group, one this world has sorely missed for too long. He gestures to Isaac, and you didn't notice he'd left his post. He's stealthier than all of your passives. And he's come from the opposite side of the room and is delivering kind of a tray that has 4 rolls of parchment with a wax seal. Each is handed, one is each handed to you, unbroken. The seal itself is a gold seal with this figure 8 symbol, what is classically the symbol of infinity, imprinted upon it. He says something now to you all as you're kind of being handed these, as he kind of stands up. Imas ubi tardis sitora, nos postremus laxe patrima assis, vigilantes e gladius, socis in infinitum. We go where the hour is latest. We are the light in the front line, the vigilant in the sword, allies in the infinite. You crack the seals, and each is a contract of, you quickly scan through. Andy, being the speed readers, finished it first. And you each see an employment contract of 6 months, 25 gold per week rate, and a 200 gold bonus sign up front for your services rendered. As you're kind of scanning through, Ludimir continues, these contracts are formalities, but one I do adhere to. 6 months to earn my trust in full. I will open the doors you wish unlocked, grease the cogs of bureaucracy or industry as needed, provide introductions and assets you may otherwise struggle to find. After such time, we will meet again and individually and together learn whether there is a path still here for you or if we must part ways. It has happened, though I hope to keep such occurrences at their current number. You are under no obligation to sign. You may freely accept the 200 gold for your services already rendered. Thus far, you may depart with my blessings and many thanks. However, I can see that each of you has a spark of intrigue, something new, something to discover. And I want to be there to discover them with you, together. So what say you?
How many, you said it's a group. How many other people do you have under this contract?
This specific 6-month contract, or
just generally? Just generally.
The numbers have unfortunately dwindled in recent years, but I have cause to begin a expansion now. Unfortunately, the exact number is one held behind the wall of trust. But
like
you're not alone.
Okay.
You're not alone.
Okay.
Can I look at Nettie and see which way she's leading? Like, I'll just be holding it up. Maybe I've just finished it and then glance at you.
I'll whisper to him. I mean, money's always good.
This money could help our parents back home. It could probably get us closer to that Red Marion thing.
That's what I was thinking. Well, why not? We don't have anything else going on.
Okay. We could just try it out, and if we don't like it...
We just ditch it.
Yeah.
It'll be fine.
We're in.
All in!
A pen and ink is handed across to each of you to sign your contracts.
Oh, it's massive for our paw.
This is a very terrible signature. Maybe he's never done it before. He just draws a bunny.
Before I see it, I need to
I
know.
dot smiley face, and then Toot Sweet pops out and kind of like dabbles
Oh, cute.
Little paw.
on the end of it.
Yeah, maybe Ray will do that too. The
That was
tiniest
great.
foam print. A little singe mark on it.
Yeah.
What were you going to say, DeCrane? Sorry, we kind of...
Before I sign, I need to know one thing.
Hmm.
What is your definition of darkness? What is your definition of who we are up against?
It is a fair question, of course. You want to know who you face, you want to know what we are up against. Unfortunately, I cannot give you a solid answer. For in the shadows, it is difficult to tell who is friend and who is enemy. However, what I can say, the warnings that we have, these 4 thoughts and 4 warnings, they are as great as the fall of Gammalast, the day of Dark Sun, perhaps greater. And unfortunately, less concentrated. In theory, the end result could be dire for the entirety of Vigil.
Would that spooky reference resonate for everybody? Like, would even Nettie and I have heard about that?
Everyone knows about the Day of Dark Sun. The Day of Dark Sun, the day that Gammalast fell, the day this Magocracy became too powerful, too power hungry, and essentially through war and infighting imploded and brought their city low, tapped into something, some craziness. It's all wizard stuff. No one has really any solid ideas as to what happened, or too many theories as to what happened. There's lots of theories that involve connections to demons and devils and all these dark underworld things. Ultimately, all that matters is something dark. Their cities, their civilization evaporated and fell and destroyed this section of the world, this northwestern section of the world, and from whatever they unleashed, this mass darkness began to consume and destroy, and in an event, instantaneously, somehow, the darkness was quelled. It was held back, and this tale as to what happened then is lesser known as to how it stopped. However, I will let anyone make a history check to see if you do know it.
I had +0, but I kind of feel like I wouldn't know it.
I will
Let's see
actually
what this is.
I'll also allow a religion check in this case, if you want to go either way.
It's 6 for either.
Okay, that's a no.
Don't know a lot of history, don't know a lot of religion.
That's fine. That's a no.
Oh my
I got
God.
16 for religion.
16 religion.
Nice.
I
Yeah,
got
absolutely.
21 history. I forgot how fucking good my history is.
Mm-hmm.
Nerdy wizards.
No, that is thank you to a feat.
DeCrane, do you care to roll religion or history? Nope, it doesn't matter.
Roll the two,
That's
so
what too.
I don't think it matters.
That is unfortunately not going to do it. Yeah, so, pardon me. The Day of Dark Sun was simultaneously the birth of a new god. This sacrifice of a creature, a person, like how it came to be. No one, at least you guys are not fully aware. The stories range from various, fey entities or a light spirit from the heavens to just a holy woman somehow did something, divine intervention. There's 1,000 different iterations of the beginning, but they all coincide to be the goddess Harper, who sacrificed and basically threw herself on the darkness to quell it, and she became this barrier to hold it still, and did so until the 100 years, 50 years, when the darkness finally kind of began to abate its expansion, and it began to like kind of settle. It still remains dark in the Ashen Waste, and there's no new life, but it was kind of deemed that like it wasn't fighting against the barrier to expand. It seemed to have been quelled. There is, so the goddess Harper, this is like her ascension story. In that wake of that, there are two new kind of groups that you would have certainly traveled alongside as a shepherd at some point, various people, and maybe you would have seen them in Marabella, Enid, known as the Bright Hearts and the Bluebells. They are followers of Harper, often natural practitioners, healers, followers of light. So oftentimes very nice, and often elven or half elven. Like there's been a lot more of their following. It seems to have pulled more of Myrnath along the world, along Vigil, though not exclusively, for sure. So that is the answer to DeCrane's kind of question of like the darkness is like on the scale of that and potentially greater.
Doesn't sound great.
I have a question too, if you don't mind.
Of course.
If you were there in our shoes,
mm-hmm.
and there was this girl who was the source of admittedly some horrible things, what would you have done?
I think it is difficult to make the decision with the benefit of the hindsight of the other information you have provided. However, I will happily attempt. In my life, I have been faced with some decisions of equal and grave decision-making. I've been on both sides of regret and assuredness. It is never easy either way. Neither choice has ever been sound. It is always racked with guilt, question marks. I believe you made the right decision. I believe that this girl has deserved a chance at a real life, or at the very least, answers as to what it is she carries, and whether she may be free of it, or take hold of it for her own and champion it. The world is in dire need of heroes, and if she is capable of wielding power such as you speak, I do hope to meet her one day.
You'd like her.
I think so. We have two signed. The two still questioning. I'm happy to answer any other questions you have.
Should we have asked questions before we kind of just signed it? It's fine. It's fine.
I feel like we get buddy points if we just sign it, honestly.
We get more of a bonus because we signed her.
Exactly, right? That's what you want. You want the points.
No, I think that last question was like enough. Andy's still nervous, but we'll sign. And just the whole time thinking about the vision that she's had now more times than she's ever had in her life before. So that's fun. In the last few months.
Sorry, what?
Nothing. You were there.
Are you gonna sign?
Yeah. Sorry.
August is just staring at you, just ears forward.
Andy signs. DeCrane, all eyes kind of shift to you.
Dr. Crane, don't feel like if you're concerned, don't feel like you have to, because we did. I mean,
The Crane, you have to do it. You should, like, you would be betraying us.
I've seen a lot of powerful people turn against those that they are supposed to serve. Corruption, greed, deceit. And I don't want to be a part of that. But I'm convinced that this is the way. So I sign.
He, as you sign, kind of nods his head appreciatively, but also says, I understand the potential misgivings that my position, my presumed wealth and life may lead you to believe a dark disposition or nefarious intent. I recognize this, and I have no way but time to prove to you that I mean not but the best for this realm and its people. And I hope, just as I hope you will prove to me, that in 6 months' time, a full road of trust may be paved between the pair of us, the 5 of us. Now, welcome to the Infinite Alliance. I have.
Does that mean? Sorry, this is a completely off-topic question. They call you the Immortal Man. Is that just because you've lived a really long time, or is that like a thing? Or like infinite? I'm sorry, I'm really curious. Is that rude?
No, it is not rude. It is often the first question. It's surprising it has taken this long to get to, actually. It is rare. And it is true. I have lived far beyond my time. I know not if I am truly immortal, but I have not found the weapon or circumstance that has proven the moniker wrong thus far. The story behind my fate, however, I look forward to telling you when you have earned my trust in full.
This is a DM question. He gave us a year that I can't read. It's like 18-something. How long ago?
It wasn't 18-something.
Okay,
It's only
the word
11:66.
number 8 was in there. Whatever. How long ago was that he like started this thing? I don't know what year it is.
Well, he bought this building in 1066, which was 76 years ago.
Okay.
And then he said something like, he referenced 2 centuries in the 2 centuries, like since he saw the place or something.
He referenced being at the inauguration of King Carrick. King Carrick is the original king who was inaugurated in Karden when the capital shifted to Karden in 830. No, not 836. Would have been 836. When the capital shifted to Karden, he was at that inauguration in 836, which is then 276-ish years ago.
He's kind of old. He's seen some.
Pardon me. I want to point out one thing. So that's a great question. One, looks like he is human. He has no elven ears, no dwarven appearance, no signs of scale of dragonborn or any other. Like, he looks completely human. Looks probably in like his, like, he looks old for a human, like in his late 50s, maybe early 60s, but in like good shape, like in a very healthy late 50s, early 60s.
Does
So
he
he's got like
look,
the peppered gray?
Does he look pale like our buddy DeCrane?
Oh, not at all. If anything, he looks like super tanned, like he's been sunning himself for a minute.
DeCrane, is this your vampire daddy?
He says,
I must be away shortly. If you have any other questions that you have amassed over your time, I am happy to answer.
When out of game, kind of going back just a second, when you referenced he was like kind of like thrilled to like present the offer to us, and he like referenced Isaac, like Isaac's a good judge of character. I wanted to like just kind of gauge Isaac's reaction, just like looking at him like, does Isaac have any reaction? Is he kind of just the stone-faced kind of guy through all of this, or is he proud of us? What's just his general demeanor?
Throw an insight check.
You got it. 16.
He is difficult to read. Like, he does have that classic like soldier's bearing. No real response. Though he like faintest flick of a smile and like faintest kind of like, crinkle on the eyes. You're just not sure it's intent, but like obviously it's happy. It's a smile. But you're just not sure whether it's because he got complimented and like he appreciates the relationship they have. His insight was correct. Like, you guys are cool. Like, you're not sure what it meant, but there was a minor like reaction to that.
Okay, great, cool.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, what's next? We're on a retainer. Is there like a next thing we have to do right away? Are we just supposed to like hang out in the city until you need us? How does it work?
No, indeed, I do have a task for you. Though we do not need to worry about it until tomorrow. There's still some particulars to put away quickly, and I hope to allow you an evening to enjoy the city and spend this new gold before you are sent back out into the wild.
One more from me.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Should we keep this a secret?
Yes. I would caution you to... I have many enemies in the world, as does the Alliance. And to drop the name of either could very quickly get yourself into water too hot for you to handle. I would very much caution you against saying my name, your association with the Alliance, and possibly even awareness of coming to the Queen's Gambit too often that it becomes a ritual, something to be tracked.
So is there somewhere else we should, if we need to get a message? Or...
You are more than welcome to come to the Queen's Gambit at any point in time. You can leave messages with our porter, Isaac. It's always at the beck and call of those in the Alliance. And we have ways to find you quickly and efficiently.
Okay. I guess the last question. This city is really big, and there's like a lot of ties to like the Arcana class, and is that something we should be worried about, given our recent run-ins? And like, I don't think the Arcana class saw our faces, but the people who potentially either called them or would be working with them definitely did.
I would say that in your particular case, it is wise to be clear of the Arcana class, perhaps the opposite side of the street. A large hat is doing a good job, and perhaps avoiding the Arcana class base on the north side of the city, as well as Sanctuary Labs in the Lake World, an affiliated connection.
When he said your particular case, was it?
It's a very unsubtle way to be like, no, he's specifically only talking to you.
Great.
Have we ever heard of that? Man, it just went in and completely out. That like second faction he mentioned. Are they the
Never heard of it.
Inventors? Okay.
Never heard of it.
We should research that later. That was interesting.
Now, if there are no other questions, I do need to attend to some of the business before the dawn. Feel free to stay drink, play, read as much as you wish here. The Queen's Gambit, as I say, will always be open to the Alliance. And use Isaac, his vast skills to familiarize yourself with the city and there are many ways in which you may spend your coin. Find a place to rest comfortably. Enjoy good food, wine, companionship, for we embark upon a new adventure on the morrow. And Isaac will provide the details. This is the beginning of something great.
Can I try one last thing? As he says that, I'll stand up. I'll be very happy. I'm not doing anything shady here. I'll extend him my paw and I'll say, "We'll make you proud."
He clasps it in 1 and 2 and does a bent over 2-hand clasp.
He's really here. That's not what Augustus is thinking, but that's what I'm wondering. Cool.
Yeah,
It feels warm. Feels like a warm hand.
Feels warm. Doesn't feel like there's a mechanical
200
hand.
years of rot or
Feels like a firm, firm, warm.
Augustus is thinking none of these things. This
Smooth
is all
skin.
just cynical Scott, but Augustus is just really means it.
It is so hard not to think as our last characters in this situation.
Yeah.
I'm like, you know how many times I wanted to insight check this motherfucker? I'm like, no, I wouldn't insight check any of this shit.
Do you know how shocking it is that Kevin hasn't suggested that Isaac's a spy yet? That he's just sitting on that waiting to say Isaac's gonna betray the party? Oh man.
Too early to
shake
say.
hands.
Yeah. He shakes your hand and he kind of nods to the rest of you, scoops up his coat. Actually, he puts his coat on. Pardon me. And scoops up his books, taps out his pipe, stows it away. Says, "On the morrow, then. Good day." And makes his way down the stairs. Isaac kind of steps right in the path that he had just left from. Looks at you all. Well, that worked out.
How often does it work out? Does it work out? Is this rare?
It's kind of a hard question. We've only really just started this back up in the last. You're a part of the first wave, but there are still some sects all around Vigil, various pockets of friends. We're not totally alone, but it's certainly not like it used to be.
It was so cool.
It was so cool, except he wasn't invisible.
No, so
No, shouldn't have been. Anyways, I have quite a bit of knowledge about this city. As he said, Mr. Nostov said, I'm at your beck and call. I have a little bit of, not on the line. That's the way he would say this.
stake in
A little bit of stake in your performance. Want to know where anything is? Do you need anything you want to go shopping for? Are you looking for somewhere nice to stay for the night, or anything you want to go and do? I can point you in the right direction.
Where should we stay?
Yeah, lots of options, honestly. The city is massive. If you're looking for something a little ritzier, there's Fendrit's Rest in the Lake Ward near the arena. If you want something cheap, you can make it back to the Merchant's Ward and stay in the Copper House. You got some coin now, so I'd recommend Fendrith just for the sake of it. And if you're looking for something kind of middle of the road where you can get some drinks and a warm bed, you can go to the Red Lion Pub in the Guildsman's Ward near the park. It's a Merc's bar, but usually got some rooms available.
I feel like we should take something that's not too conspicuous. We don't want to draw attention.
Oh yeah, it'd be kind of weird if a bunch of normal traveler people who look like they've slept in tents for 3 weeks because we have suddenly turned up at a really nice place. I don't
Red
know.
Lion sounded cool. Or Copper House.
Sure, either's fine.
Isaac, are we supposed to come back here tomorrow? Is that what? I was so in awe. I kind of missed some of the minor details.
No, I can get to that now.
So as he said, we have business tomorrow. Tomorrow, come to the Hall of Antiquity in the heart of the Lake Ward. You'll need this. He kind of reaches into. He's wearing this sharply pressed, long, double-breasted blue overcoat that is buttoned. It's got double lines of buttons and buttoned across, and a high collar that goes up on his neck. And he kind of reaches into one of the pockets and produces a key ring with 5 rings and an ancient-looking brass key with a green patina. And he kind of holds it out by the key, just kind of offered off into the space of the 4 of you. You'll need this. Hands it to Andy, kind of with a you're the one who should have this kind of nod. So I trust you'll sort everything out. I hope you'll sort everything out. I don't want to give anything away as to what you're planning to do next. In truth, it's probably wise to take today as a restful day. Sounds like you're going to be hitting the road pretty soon.
Okay.
All right, so we need to get rations and things done. Looking at the rest of the group. Is there a good place to? I know a lot of places a lot of townies love to try to, travelers aren't always they're not locals. So are there certain places where people are really good and honest? Other places where maybe it's not the place to shop or stop in?
I mean, if you're just looking for the general goods, your best bet is just to go to the open market and make your call at each stall as to whether you trust the person there and their goods. A little difficult to say specifics. It's just in the merchant's ward, just off the high road. You can't miss it. It's a big sprawl. Eventually, I hope to introduce you to the broker. If you're looking for something a little bit more intrigue, but you'll certainly need some more coin before then. And don't even joke about taking a loan from him to afford any of his goods. Just pay up front and walk away. If there's anything more specific, I can answer. Otherwise, if you're looking just for general goods, I'd go to the open market, find a place to stay and drink and eat, and then make your way back to the antiquity for the morning.
I also I hopefully, is it the open market a good place? I do a lot of embroidery and sewing work, and I need really good silks and thread for some of the stuff. Is that place a good place for that? Really good.
If you're looking for top shelf material, then you're gonna head to Silk and Splendor. It's in this ward. It's not far. Kind of closer to the Noble District, towards the bridge. It's a tailor shop, but you'll find what you need there. I think you could search the open market, of course, if they don't find what you have there. It's just less of a guarantee, is what I'd say. But you can get a lot of good stuff in the open market.
Thank you.
Isaac, is there any way we identify each other as part of the Alliance? Do we have, and I'll open my coat and show the badge that we got made in Darkvale? Do we have cool badge like that?
Or a secret handshake, or is that what you're asking about? Okay.
Or code things we say, the sun is always rising. And then you'd say, the dawn is the moon.
Yes. However,
Was that the code?
You need a little bit of time.
Yeah. It's the 6 month, the probation period. Gotcha. Yeah, it's fine. Okay.
I'm good.
Yeah.
Well, as Mr. Nostov said, you're more than welcome to stay here and have anything you wish to drink. And the food fare here is pretty thin, but plenty of games and books to check out if you're interested in such things. And as the porter here will recognize who you are, we've already kind of given him the heads up. Oh, of course. He kind of makes his way over to another point and produces 4 sacks of 200 gold apiece. He carries them over. They're pretty hefty, and he carries them 2 by 2 and sets them down on the table rather than handing them to you and says, hope you have somewhere safe to stash these. A couple of pickpockets all around the city. Sticky fingers are not amiss here. So keep an eye on your coin.
It's like the size of my head.
Yes, is easily more money than I've ever seen in my life. I might have to throw some little secret pockets in our clothes. Maybe I'll do that tonight.
Can you carry mine, Andy?
Yeah, it's fine.
The
Yeah.
size of my face.
Yeah, just put it in my pack. It's okay.
Can you carry mine too?
Oh my god. Okay. Yeah. Sure.
Because the size of her head.
Like put them in the pack with all the rest of our shit.
It's
Isaac
going to be carried by Andy by the end of this game. Just like children just carrying us around. I'm tired.
My strength is not that good. I just look really large and muscly. I'm not actually get any muscles.
Isaac says, if that's it, I'm going to get out of here to some of my own business.
Mm-hmm.
And show yourselves out. I knew I had a good feeling about you all, though. A lesson for the wise. Trust your instincts. More often than not. And like I said, tomorrow, I hope you sort everything out. I'll see you there.
Thank you, Isaac.
It begins to
thank
speak,
you.
right?
Thank you.
To Crane say thank you.
I just nod.
He taps his temple, makes his way down the steps. You notice now, as you all kind of stand there in the glow of being 800 gold richer collectively, the contracts are left for your possession. And the runes have disappeared.
Wonder if they were truth runes.
I only got a
Maybe they're
little look at
bunch of
him.
shit.
He seemed like a rather impressive combination of magic.
Augustus would not have said that. He would have. He would never think of lying.
It's true. Should we? I don't know. Does anyone care for a specific drink, or we just?
I just don't. I won't. Nettie and I can't go a place where they have ale because it's poison. So
Yeah, but I think
we
the
have
thing
to
is that
avoid it.
that place was like particularly bad. Like I've had ale in like a couple small towns.
And you're alive.
Well, yeah, that one was apparently really bad.
Oh,
Like,
no.
none of it's great. It's all an acquired taste, but like that one apparently really sucked.
Maybe you should just stick to wine. Blood.
We need meat. We come from a village that's meat, and like that's what we need.
No, I'm sure you could find that somewhere. It's a really big city. They have import-export like crazy. I mean, there's shepherds coming in and out of this place, ferrying traders all the time.
Do you guys want to go to the Red Lion?
Sure, yeah. I might try to, if we're already in the right ward, I might try to stop at this Silk and Splendor place, if that's okay. I'm running really low.
DeCrane, if someone bumps into you at that, he said it was a merc bar, I assume he means mercenary, you wouldn't, like, shoot that guy in the foot, too, if someone bumped into you, right?
Depends on their demeanor. If they meant to do it, I'd shoot them.
Do you say shoot them in the head? Oh my god.
I think and hope he's joking. Like we all, I think keeping a low profile, at least for a couple of days. I mean, potentially maybe like we don't murder people in cold blood and random bars. but I think like we should probably be a little bit careful. I'm nervous. This is a big iconoclasty, I think.
When it comes to mercenaries, you gotta establish your dominance early. If that means taking one down, do it.
I'll just follow your lead. And I'll turn to Andy and shake my head.
If anyone gives you trouble, If anyone gives you trouble, I will take them down, or I will empower you to take them down.
Okay, that's like so nice. Yeah, that's scary.
I don't think we need to take anyone down. We're just here to have a good time.
Yeah, my sister's
said it wouldn't be a good time.
Okay.
I just don't want to screw this up. So, okay, that's really cool.
Yeah.
So cool.
So what's it going to be?
Red Lion. But you want to stop at by the way, let's
Silken
call
Splendor.
out Silken Splendor. Kyle's just killing it on these fucking names.
Such a
Silken
good
Splendor,
name.
Red Lion Pub, Fenris, Copper House. All good shit.
Throw me an investigation check. Actually, it'll be a group check. So
God.
everyone roll investigation.
You got it.
You're looking for more successes than fails.
That's a fail.
Okay.
I got
Well-
18.
I got a 1.
Oh, that's never mind. That's a tough go.
12.
9. I'm not afraid to ask people for directions. Andy is weirdly chatty with like all sorts of people on the street.
What if I just don't like your vibe?
The way to Silken Splendor was not far. However, starting in the wrong direction makes it far. And you guys end up like circling, like if you started here and your end goal was here, you went all the way around and came here. So it's not that you don't find it, but it's that from noon when you left off to arriving at like 2:30.
Oh my god.
You fucked about for a long time.
It was right
Talked
here.
with a lot of people.
It was right the whole time. It was right there.
Yeah, it wasn't very far. You can see just down the road the Queen's Gambit. Rather than play through the whole thing.
I don't even have any like spells that I would need this for. I don't know how often they're gonna come up, but remind me because I should know this. It's like 100 gold per worth of materials per spell level.
I think it says in your spell casting, learning new spells. Copying a spell into your book. When you find it was a spell, yada, yada, yada. Copying a spell involves reproducing the basic form of spell, yada, yada, yada. For each level of spell, the process takes 2 hours and costs 50 gold pieces.
50. Okay.
So it's 50 gold per level.
Let's like get 100 gold's worth.
Sure, yeah.
To have, because I don't want to end up in the middle of nowhere with no fancy materials.
Yeah.
So I haven't even added the money yet, so I'll just only add 100 gold to my inventory.
Yeah, easy enough. The proprietor, actually it's not the owner, it's like a clerk, comes to you, and it is like the interior is like this like a design, like a fashion design place. Like it's like fancy, like the there are like obvious like places you come here to get like custom, well adorned outfits made here.
Yeah, she's immediately distracted by like looking at like the craftsmanship of things and like feeling materials and being like, this like stitching's like really good, like all that stuff.
Yeah, you don't necessarily feel this because you don't think of yourself in this way, but you do look very out of place here. You do not fit the vibe of this place. However, the big ass bag of gold does fit the place. Immediately the clerk turns from a snobby bitch to money. Okay, here's thread, and here's it's mostly thread, and true gold thread, as well as a good ream of like really high quality fabric.
Can I get just like a bunch of like for fun embroidery, like not good quality, because I'm probably running low on that. My doodle thread.
Yeah, you can throw like 3 gold pieces. Like it's more expensive here than it would be anywhere else.
Yeah,
so 3 gold
but
is
I'm already
like
here.
a ton, but you're already here. So another 3 gold for, a good amount of doodling thread of just simple, various colors.
Is it insane to try and send money home? Would you ever trust a postal service to send money home? Or would that be something you try and do yourself?
Honestly, you guys have no idea. No one in your party would know the answer to that question.
Maybe I'll ask Isaac tomorrow. I'll wait on it then. That's what he's thinking about. You should send money to our parents.
You just
I'm sure, I'm like, there's got to be some service that does that.
It's probably like this is probably the city to do that in with the best results, but realistically, like Andy has absolutely no reason to know that. DeCrane has barely ever been in this city, and the same for the two of you. Like you're so country, not city.
Overwhelmed.
Like,
yeah,
it's it doesn't fit for any of you to have that knowledge. So Isaac is your best bet to ask,
okay, we'll wait
and you can do that in the morning, and it should be easy enough to do even on the way out of town. It's like you're not going to have to leave the second they say go. You'll have some time to finish if you think of other things you want to buy. So it's not even that you have like this night and only this night. That's why that there's no huge rush, but you can ask him and get that sorted.
Augustus would not think this, but I volunteer this for the group if anyone's smarter to think this. Kev, maybe your character. We have this like God's medal thing, and in knowing that you have like a cool sword and a gun, I don't know if you want to try anything with that, but knowing, I mean, Andy's a wizard. I don't even think you can wear metal. I don't know. I don't know how wizards work.
I can wear metal. You can't.
I can't wear metal. I have no desire to use this stuff.
I can't wear armor or anything, but no, I mean, but it's just more of like that stuff. That's where I was gonna like potentially ask Isaac, but I'm like, we're asking too many things because he might, same thing, like know of someone who's talented enough to actually work with it.
Yeah,
but it's also heavy as fuck, so we don't want to carry it around too long.
Yeah.
One of the caveats to the God Steel that like whoever rolled for it, probably Andy, like it is incredibly like expensive. Like you could sell it, you could barter with it as is in this kind of unrefined form. It would have to be like smelted back down and reworked, almost to the level of platinum, and probably more than platinum, honestly, if you were to think about it in terms of pound to wealth. But if you found the right smith with either the right enchant, like the crafting thought process of like having an item with an enchantment, it may not be the same person. This city is not going to have enchanters because magic is strictly outlawed. However, the College of Artifice and Invention also exists here. You might have success there. Like that would be knowledge that would kind of be loosely understood. Like that's the new hotness. That's the new school. That's kind of the only game in town. But getting into there requires kind of the access. And all of this is going to take a ton of time. Like the crafting and smelting and all this stuff. Like
true.
It's not that you couldn't do it now, but it will take weeks for delivery.
Get started.
Yeah.
What I would suggest is 2 things. Either we sell it and use the money for our journey ahead, or we see if we can get weapons or armor made for you too.
For us to?
Yes, you will need to be protected one way or the other.
I have a coat.
Sailing everywhere we go.
I have my coat. It's got fringe on it. I don't really
I think potentially it might save to like until we really know we need something specific. Right? Like I guess we could sell it, but like it's heavy, but so is gold. Gold is weirdly heavy. Now that I have 3 giant packs of it in my backpack.
I don't think it's that heavy. It's not that bad.
Right. I'm just, I don't know. Let's wait to see what we actually need. Like,
we can get it mixed into an alloy that would be lighter the main thing is, at some point, there's going to be someone who wants to get us. Worst comes to worst, you need to have good protection.
Yeah, I mean, we do also have gold. I don't know. I have no idea how much this kind of stuff costs. Do any of you actually have armor? Like, Kevin, you're wearing like an armor.
Yeah.
I have a coat. I don't know what more.
Do you not have leather armor, even?
Why would I?
I don't think they do, right?
Let me check. I have a cool coat. Like, why would I need inventory, backpack, bedroll? Yeah, like technically, I'm wearing light armor, but my coat.
Yeah, I'm the same.
I also want to add, this is not necessarily related to this conversation. Actually, I'll make it a part of this conversation. I'll make a new point. The god steel and any kind of crafting material doesn't necessarily have to be straight to armor. There are plenty of other ways of utilizing god steel as like a naturally magical and conductive material. It can be used into obviously weapons and armor, but there are other just kind of like cool item ideas that are not necessarily armor based. Could be like a gauntlet, but like it's not necessarily armor, if you see what I'm saying. Like,
so would that in theory, if the wrong person learned that we'd have it and has like magic potential, could that be a problem here?
This comes back to my first point that I was about to make. There are a couple of things in your possession that are super illegal. DeCrane has a pistol. That's fucking illegal. That's like straight up like
you gotta put that somewhere not on your
head. You have an Arcana class. You have a police issue weapon on your hip. No
idea.
Oh no!
Just no ID, no nothing, no like no license. Not that they even issue those, but that's like crazy illegal.
Do we? Another question. Do we know that? Like, would everyone know our kind of class carry pistols like that?
DeCrane would have learned that, and Andy would also know that. YouTube, no reason to know that.
Okay, great. That tracks in my head.
Yeah.
And collectively, like the knowledge of like god steel as an illegal substance is more to Andy's like thought process, and whether you kind of piece this together in this moment as you're kind of talking about it or on the way into the city, it falls into the same world of like magical item. It just happens to be magical like metal, but like to talk about crafting something out of it, like that's straight up just making an illegal item. Like you're just talking about making drugs, like, and doing something cool with them. Like there are things in this city that are going to be highly policed, so the open carry is not down here.
Yeah, I'll make that known to everybody. That this might not be the right city to do that in.
Likewise,
but we can talk to Isaac about it.
Just magic, just generally.
Oh yeah, actually, I would probably try to give. That would have been before this moment of before we entered the city. Everyone would have got a little bit of a speech, mostly Augustus, about not doing anything magic-y
dancing between his hands, listening to you.
Because specifically this city, but like cities in general and like townies in general do not like magic.
But I just start to like learn how to do stuff. Like, look at this.
I think it's cool. I think it's really cool. But we just gotta. I don't want to see you end up. That's actually fine. Actually, surprisingly, Enid, yeah, the like close-up magic, heavy quotation marks. People love that stuff. Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, that one's good. The like thing where you could be like, oh, I'm gonna like hit you really hard next time. That one, not so much.
What about this one, and I cast Primal Savagery, so my hands extend into these like claws with fire on them.
Oh,
Is there a verbal, somatic, or material component?
I
This is
assumed
all
this was
before we
outside of
come
the
to the
city.
city.
I did not want to be inside the city to say this. Let me check that for the future. S, somatic? Yeah.
Somatic.
Yes.
It's a growl. I'll put them
Somatic is hands.
Oh, great. Sing. I'll put them away. Sing.
Having had the conversation, jumping back to the present day, current moment, you guys have you've acquired your silk. You can discuss the God Seal as you please, and have now amassed a couple of other questions for Isaac in the morning. Do you head to Red Lion?
Let's do it. Let's
I
pull
think
up.
so.
Okay, another group investigation check.
Oh, boy.
Oh no. Oh my god. Can I use my own? Wait, let's see how bad everyone else does.
I got a
first.
5.
13.
I rolled a 16.
Okay. 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 I rolled like an 11.
It's probably
Better than 10. Probably fine. I'm not going to waste a port enough.
Yeah, no, that's totally fine. Red Lion is relatively easy to find, and people very trustworthily point it out for you. As you make your way into the Guildsman's Ward, which I believe is where I said that is. I should double check that.
Yes, that's what I have here.
Okay. It's not deep into it, but it is kind of in this quadrant, this actual triangular area, into this kind of 3-story tighter structure. You make your way inside and find a very classic tavern of a medieval world. Very wood rich, the smell of cooking food, meats, stews, and long old spilled ale. You can immediately hear the rowdy interior of dozens of patrons enjoying drinking and taking an early supper or a very, very late lunch. And you make your way inside, and you find the bartender and owner, who introduces himself. He's a Leonin, so he's a lion born creature. This brilliant mane of thick kind of fiery red and brown fur over a classic lion's snout and face. He is massively broad-shouldered and thick in muscle, but also has a decent rotund stomach as well, but just like biceps the size of both Enid and Augustus put together. Just a massive figure. He welcomes you all in, and for the interest of time, unless there's anything you wish to accomplish in the tavern, there are plenty of other patrons to like converse with and drink with. You collectively note that the second floor seems to have like a color scheme to it. All the patrons seem to be wearing similar armor, all branded with a kind of red cloak or a red like ascot or a bandana. They all seem to have this same red accoutrement of whatever, presumably mercenary guild group they're with. Just something that you note. And collectively, for the 1, 2, 3 rooms, 4 rooms, what are we looking at?
I think it
Eddie
depends
and I
on how
can
big
share
they are.
There's 6 rooms of like normal average size, like they're not suites by any stretch. They're pretty standard fare. You'd find like a double bed and like, pretty simple, setup.
Do you want to do 3 so you don't have to share a room with Pistol McGee over there?
That's fine.
There'll be 5 silver for a room, and another, 3 to 5 silver depending on how much you eat and drink. If you drink more, it's a little bit more. If you drink a normal amount, it's 5 silver, so it'd be a gold a head.
Done.
Sounds good.
Okay. Knock that off for the night. Do any of you get too deep into your cups?
Ew. No.
I will say they do have Maribel and mead here.
Oh.
Oh.
Feel like I would have one and I would go right to sleep. Just put me right out after a
Yeah,
long day.
same. Just
Is it like the Hobbit drink where it's like this
Yeah,
big
like
for you
massive.
guys?
Thank you.
They have pints.
Does DeCrane drink?
Well, I think alcohol has no effect. So
I think
Because you're a ghost. It just goes through.
I can drink a drink, but it's like it would just be like drinking water.
rather than having no effect, it's like the elven or dwarven level sobriety. Like you can drink like 8 times as much as anyone else and 12 times as much as the Herringons. Like
Okay, I like that.
Easily. But like at a certain point, you would become inebriated if you kept downing it. If you really wanted to, you could get there. But collectively, a gold down each of you. You do have a nice night in relatively comfortable beds compared to sleeping on bedrolls in tents in the wilds. Though that's also comfortable for you. This is a nice kind of comfort for the evening. It's warm, and there is this kind of nice comfort, especially to Andy, of the sound, like the sound of people partying and singing and laughing and drinking and kind of stomping away all around, not just in the Red Lion, though exceptionally in the Red Lion. The sounds of the city are surprisingly kind of like peaceful, and they do help lull you into a night's rest. Is there any last things before sleep fully takes you, or we go to the next morning?
I don't think so.
That's for
I
me.
think it's yeah.
Sounds good. I'd like to get us just to the hall in the morning, and we can pick up from kind of entering into the hall as you get there. Would you aim to be waking up early, waking up at the dawn? Would you sleep in a little bit? How do you guys take the day?
For Augie, I feel like he would maybe go to sleep real quick with this mead, but then the city and how noisy it is would really get him up early and not have the best sleep because he's so not used to the noise of it. So he'd be up early.
Yeah, the noise is definitely something to change up from your normal setup, and certainly from the last 14 days of overland travel, where it's just been like peaceful birds and whatever waking you up in the morning and waking up to the sun. There's a definite more industrial sound and makeup to the city that starts really early.
Do I have a window in my little room?
Roll a d6.
I'm out cold. Completely out cold.
I got a 3.
No, you do not have a window.
Okay, good. I was going to check for moths, so no need to do that.
Roll some new portents.
Yeah. Andy is in a habit for I don't know how many years now of waking up early, specifically so that she can do any spellbook shit before other people wake up. So it's just complete habit for her.
Well, you have your own room now to do that in. You have some privacy to look over your sash and prepare your spells for the day. And
I'll spend a little bit of time sewing little pockets into whatever clothing I have to put little stashes of gold in that won't get pickpocketed.
Sounds good. You can easily accomplish that with your skill level. The last question is, you guys set off. Is there anything you do before making your way to the lake from this guildsman's ward, or on your way?
Get some breakfast.
Do you eat here, or do you want to get something on the way?
On the way, explore the city. Find like a weird little cart somewhere that sells like questionable food. That's the whole point. Yeah.
There
I
are
guess this
several.
would be trying to rush us along the entire time. He's the tourist who does not want to be late, so I'd be like hopping from foot to foot.
Okay.
I'm the see everything tourist. Like, stop and talk to everybody.
In this instance, then, just roll I'm going to call it a straight dexterity check as a group.
Group dex?
Group dexterity check. D20 plus your dexterity.
Oh, yeah. Fuck yeah. 21 for Gus. Everybody else?
Dexterity?
19.
Nice.
Yeah. Straight dexterity for Andy.
Roll a 7. And my dex is +3. Oh, sorry.
Bad.
10.
Sorry, I had to chase the cat away from eating a bunch of goldfish.
The rabbit's got your back. Rabbits are dexterous. We're good.
5.
Yeah. It's a little difficult for the Herringons to be patient for Andy's real slow, patient, like wants to talk, stopping at each like stall, and there are a fuckload of stalls to like peruse and look at different textures and little things and little bits and bobs, and sampling some random bits of food here and there, stopping to get little samplers, trying a couple of different drinks and things, and like just chatting with people. It does delay you ever so slightly. DeCrane, not that you're being slow in the same way as Andy, but I think with the pure amount of people, you're just like, full awareness out. So you're slowly just taking everything in, and that just slows your total pace down as you're trying to like ascertain everybody as you're going. So it does slow you down from what would be like 30 to 45 minutes to like you're on an hour by the time you arrive. Thankfully, when you do arrive at the Hall of Antiquity, it is full bright morning, little chilly but not terrible, and it is your characters would also be aware of this. It is what is essentially the equivalent of Sunday. It's Vizeth. And therefore the streets are a little busier. There's more things happening that are more less work oriented and more just recreational. And as you get to the Hall of Antiquity, you see it's actually very populated. It's very busy. And as you get closer, there are several signs around the front that you can see. The hall is free to all on Anteth and Vizeth, so it's free on the weekends to any patrons, anyone who wants to come. It's free here. And the walk to from the Guildsman's Ward into the Lake Ward is an interesting one. You go from the Guildsman's Ward, which is very industrial, very heavy on the focus on creating and building and making things, and both being sold or just working on the workshops, and into the Lake Ward. There's a particularly specific like downturn into like slow, peaceful, methodical, natural. There are several different gardens, and you see graveyards that are being cared for and well maintained, and large sprawling gardens. But there's also a large area of like recreation. There's a massive arena known as the Ascendant Arena, like a gladiatorial Colosseum level arena. And there are lots of like homes along this area as well, with this kind of picturesque look over to the lake, and up high beyond the lake up towards McCarran Hall, the home of the royal line, and then framed beautifully on the Red Rock Mountains just behind. It is a very picturesque place. Finally, though, you make it to the Hall of Antiquity. You make your way inside, as it is free. There are a handful of like guards and like what would be ticket checkers, but on a day like this, it doesn't really matter. They just kind of let you pass in, and you walk into an entry foyer on this like massive marble and stone building that is classically like a museum style building. There are dozens of wings that kind of take off from the main structure, this main foyer, and you can see there are signs that read like permanent exhibits. There's 7 permanent exhibits and a handful of like temporary newer ones that is kind of filling out this main hall. Where do you go? What do you do?
I have to get dragged away from all of these things.
Come on.
Any kind of exhibity type thing. I'm immediate, but I like, wow, this one's really interesting. Did you see this one? Did you see how old this thing is?
The sleeping dog beneath me through this whole episode sounds like a machine gun right now. If you can hear this, it's like a Gatling gun of snoring. Can I make a perception for maybe Isaac or someone from... Yeah, let's do it.
Sure. Yeah.
Ooh, really good. 18 on the dice plus 6, so 24.
Yeah, you've had so much time waiting for Andy and DeCrane to catch up. You like sprinted in, you've sprinted everywhere. No sign of him.
Andy, what about those keys you had? Can we see what he gave you?
Oh yeah. I should have looked at these last night. I'll pull them out and see what the heck it is. Is there any symbols on them? Is there any...
The key ring given to you by Isaac has, as I said, kind of this thicker, larger key of brass with this very green patina, like it's an old key. It sits on a large ring. And on the ring as well are 5 other empty key rings, smaller than the kind of classic large one. You turn it over. There's no symbols or sigils on the key itself. It seems there's a little bit more behind this. If you'd like, you can make an intelligence check. See if you can decipher the meaning behind the key and rings.
Come on, nerd.
I'm important shit today. I can't use it to replace a roll.
Yeah, why is there 5 rings?
Oh, okay. That's good. Intelligence check. I should know my intelligence.
Yeah.
Right. So it's a 19.
Yeah.
Nice.
You are stumped for like a minute, as you're trying to all decipher. You're kind of passing it between each other, like flipping it over, looking, seeing who can see anything different. And it comes back to you, and you sit and you look at it, and whether it's just like how your eyes match up with the sign that's in front of you, or your brain makes a connection and then your eyes do secondarily, you think about the connection of the two things. The Hall of Antiquity to mean something old. The brass key is certainly old, but what does it represent? And you decipher that the first part is less about the key and more about the empty rings, and the 5 specifically. And your eyes kind of linger on the several exhibits that are permanent exhibits here. Go ahead and throw me a history check with advantage.
That is a... Oh shit, what was the first one? First one was a 16 plus
3.
7.
Or, yeah, 7 for your history.
7?
Yes, of course. You connect with the exhibit that is the Archon of the West. And it kind of clicks to you. The 5 rings and a large ring would be very connected to Helios, the capital of Sindar, this classically ringed city that is set within a long dormant caldera that now forms a natural mountainous wall like a ring. But not only that, the emperor who rules from Helios, along the border of their lands are 5 cities that act as the major hubs and political sister cities, homes of the emperor's lieutenants, collectively known as Helios and the 5 Rings, the Archon of the West.
Is there like an exhibit about that or anything we could go check out?
Yep. One of the permanent exhibits, and I'll read them all to you now. The permanent exhibits are the Rise and Fall of Lazarin, the Dark Age, Kieran the Honor-Bound King's Legacy, Gammalast, Revival and Age of Wonders, the Archon of the West, and the Mists of Mirnath.
Damn, it's so
Only
mean.
we had time for all of them. I mean that sincerely. Let's check out the Archon.
You guys begin to make your way to the west side of the hall, and you find your way into a very clearly signed and adorned, very classically kind of like desert and Badlands motif as you enter in through this kind of replication of the burning sea, and there's an explanation of the burning sea as this massive desert and a site of great battles of many ages long gone. The fall of Heraxus, this dark draconic god, happened within this area that is said to have timeout. What was that?
I think maybe it was a like laundry or something. I don't know.
That was weird. Anyways, you enter in through this burning sea, and you're kind of led through with all these various different signs. And there's kind of classic, ancient pottery and weaponry, spears, and these masks of draconic lieutenants who led armies in Heraxus's name. And slowly but surely it leads you through this history of Helios, of Sindar, this realm, empire, I should say. And there's lots of little bits and things that you would pick up as you go along the way, the stories and tales that Andy would have to be dragged away from. But you do indeed drag her away. You walk the breadth of the full west wing here. No sign of Isaac, Ludimir.
Is there anything, any metal like signs or pieces that match the same kind of metal that this key is?
There's quite a few pieces of this like ancient patinaed brass or copper. There's quite a bit of that all throughout. There's nothing that particularly stands out as like clear, like, clearly connected. However, you can make an investigation check if you want to see if you can spot anything else.
I would say this out loud too, in case anyone else is.
Can I try and help?
Sure. You have advantage on investigation.
14.
That's enough, actually, which is surprising, but it is good. You're still only level 3.
Thank you for the advantage.
AC
2.
Level 3.
On like a second pass, it's not in the first section that's like focused more on Heraxus and this desert. And the second section kind of goes over this like more about the gods of the realm, and then a little bit of history of like the founding of Helios and Harmenius and Darius, the founder, and like all these things that lead to like the history. Obviously, it's a museum. But eventually, you do find a large brass replica of a dragon's like skull, like a true size dragon skull, and it is presumably a brass dragon, given the make of metal and the natural patina of it. It is it's not mounted, it's against the wall but on the ground, but it still stands. Like, this would be, actually, you're free to make a history or nature check to see what you know about brass dragons. Anybody collectively.
Hell yeah.
Oh. Well, all the good history checks tonight.
19 for me.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, 5.
Not a dragon expert.
25 history.
Nice. Okay. I'm a big dragon guy.
Yeah, Augustus and Andy, you absolutely know this would have been at least a replica, if not, it's clearly not like a real skull. It's made of metal, and with no like bone within. But it is an ancient brass dragon. It is, if it's true to form, 20 feet in length, near as much as tall. It's an impressive, massive structure. Classically, brass dragons, breathe fire. They would be from this kind of region. Like it fits the motif, and it just seems to click the connection. Like it somehow, like this does feel like you're in the right place. You haven't yet found.
Can I check out more of this dragon? Like, look in its mouth, look
Mhm.
around it?
Make an investigation check.
Missing any teeth?
And I'm not good at investigation. 9?
You give it a good once over. And I will say as well, there's been very little activity in this wing. You guys have been alone pretty much the whole time, and you spent like 15, going on 20 minutes back and forth, down and up, like looking through this wing. Yeah, there's no, keyholes. There's no missing teeth. There's no obvious point here. There's something you're missing.
Is it looking at anything? What's the dragon looking towards?
It is sitting kind of facing towards like the next wing, essentially. Like you're at the end of the wing, and it would go to the next like hallway. It would lead to basically just a hall to another door.
Andy, you're taller than I am. Could you like look in its eyes or something? Like I can't even get up that tall.
Yeah, I can try.
Yeah, you're how tall are you? You're like 7 feet tall, like just
Like 6.5.
You'd have to really kind of stand on your tiptoes to get like a really good look in. But it's there's not an indent. It's built as if there was like an eyeball, like it's full, but it's just kind of smooth. You don't see anything immediately on like the exterior. It doesn't seem to click or move.
No one's around us right now. That's what you're saying.
No.
You're not gonna talk to your god, are you?
Did I prepare it? Yeah, I did.
Do it.
I don't even know if it's gonna work. I'll cast detect magic.
Okay.
I don't even know if it'll do anything. But like,
You
I'll
very
just see if like the key or anything is even magical.
You very quietly and quickly go through the process of casting detect magic. As I've already established, nobody immediately around, so no need for a stealth or sleight of hand because you're actively casting. It takes 6 seconds. Nobody's going to see that, and you've already kind of scoped the area. The key is not magical. There is a very minor magical influence coming from the 5 small rings.
Okay.
There is an abjurative ward on each of the 5 rings in a very specific point, not the full ring. And as you kind of now, with the aid of magic, kind of get a little closer, you can see there's a clasp that was very difficult to see, but the magic is kind of illuminating it in such a way that you can see there's a clasp that is holding each ring closed, but it's magically enchanted.
To stay closed.
Yes.
Unless we trigger it by moving it towards something that'll like could open it. Oliver agrees.
Why?
There's a cat in this exhibit.
So one downside of having like a proper mic now is you're going to hear everything that the 2 animals say. Okay. How big are the rings again? Can you like show me with your fingers?
Classic key ring. Like,
Okay.
and then the other one is like a classic, like old key ring.
Like old on the hip of some jailer kind of key ring.
Yes.
Okay.
Do all those rings look similar? They're the exact same like
Identical.
material or color? Damn.
All 5 are identical.
In the like exhibit where I was talking about all the different like 5 areas that would be the 5 rings, is there anything like, is it all behind glass? Is it
It's mostly behind glass, or those like stuff that's in the middle, but has a like a display case around it. Like there's nothing that's immediately touchable, with the exception of some like tapestry.
Is there anything we could hang one of these things off of? Like, I guess this dragon's fucking huge. I was thinking, like, if it has like a horn at the front, like, do these 5 rings go with 5 dragons that represent the 5 cities? What's in the other exhibit? That is to say, the dragon was like looking in a
Facing to another one.
Yeah.
You rush over there and poke your head in through the door that would lead you into Mirnath.
Okay.
You poke in and you can see like it's a pretty stark shift from like desert and this like very the Sindarian, like almost Roman-esque style into like forest, elven, very Fey inspired. So you're like immediately just like, ooh, cool.
Like it. But not the vibe we've been going for, so
Very does not fit with what is happening.
I will reluctantly step a couple back and come back into this room.
Something to check in later. I will give a hint
Yeah.
if it is required.
Do Rangers have cool spell stuff there, Nettie? What kind of cool features and shit do you guys got?
Under the influence of detect magic and the history and nature check performed to kind of connect the brass dragon, there is an element that may reveal a connection.
All of us just so deep in thought pondering this. Rings, 5 rings, huge dragon skull in here. Helios, 5 cities. Ball of Heraxus, evil dragon god. Sindar. This is so dumb. Are there like 5 teeth at the front of this dragon? Like, do we put these little rings on the little dragon teeth or something like that?
Dozens of teeth.
Okay, this doesn't do it.
I'll tell you right now, the rings don't go anywhere.
Okay. Please don't spend the next 20 minutes putting these rings on things.
With the aid of magic, detect magic, your like understanding of like the enchantment is not in a proximity, but there is a specific release trigger. It's not words, it's not a phrase. It's something applied.
It was a fire dragon.
I'll try fire. I'll look around and then I'll like hold it in my palm and I'll cast my little one, produce flame.
Are you holding like the whole ring in your palm, or are you?
Maybe I'll hold one hand fire and then I'll take the keys, get it in camera, and start to move them towards the fire.
Yeah, for sure. With your produce flame, I'd like Decrane and Enid to throw me perception checks, just to see if anyone else is happening to notice the flames in the museum. As you bring the...
Nice.
That's good. You bring the first, the rings that are all kind of dangling. Immediately, Andy, under your detect magic, you're watching as the enchantment is thinning.
Cool.
And immediately the closest ring pops and out slips a roll of parchment that instantly begins to catch fire.
Oh, shit.
Stop the fire, stop the fire. Try and
Drop the fire. Make a dexterity check or sleight of hand check, your choice.
Okay, they're the same. It's not great. 7.
7. You reach out to snatch it, but it's like, trying to catch a piece of paper flipping in the wind, and it is burning, and you don't grab it. It's slipping away. It's kind of flipping and falling, and it is burning away. It's a decently long slip, but it's caught on fire. What does anybody do?
Can someone stomp it out who's closer than me?
Enid,
I can jump on it.
Yeah.
Okay. Dexterity or sleight of hand check for you as well.
Okay.
Hope you can mend this important clue back together there.
Oh, I did sleight of hand and I got a natural 20.
Yeah, thank God. Mending does not put text back on a piece of paper. It would just make the piece of paper come back.
Augustus is flailing horribly, and Enid, you just with one rabbit foot land right on the flaming piece of paper, catch it, puts it out instantly. You lift up the paper and you look, and it's a thin strip that's been rolled tight, and where it's burned up to, obviously it's gone. But you unroll and there's nothing until the very, very top. There is a line of text. It reads in a language you don't know.
Shit.
Imus ubi tardis citora.
Comprehend languages. I fucking prepared it today.
Nice. Thank God.
Are you casting?
Although wait, it's 1 second.
Is it a ritual?
I'm checking if it's concentration.
So it is neither Elvish, nor Gnomish, nor Sylvan?
No.
Oh.
What about languages I know? I don't remember what they are.
Nope.
Okay, fine. We'll show it to everybody, and if no one gets it, I'll cast comprehend languages.
Seeing you start to do some magic, I will look at Ray and be like, Ray, maybe you could make us a little like quieter and on alert, and then I'll cast pass without a trace through that.
Yep. Sorry, did you cast proper or ritual?
I don't. Do we want to take 11 minutes to do this? I have to take out my spell book, which is sewed shut. So I'd imagine no. I'm just going to use the spell slot. Oh my god, Oliver, calm the fuck down.
With the spell cast, sorry, does it not detect magic?
No, it's not. It's not.
Okay. No, that's
concentration.
It translates from ancient Sindarian
Ooh.
to "we go where the hour is latest."
Okay.
Should we try the other ones?
Yeah. When he was doing that and like moving the like rings, did any of the other ones look like they were starting to fade, or was it like?
Yeah, that just happened to be the closest one, and then he instantly doused the flame.
Okay.
Everything, like, it was just everything was happening in succession.
Yeah.
But once the first one popped, I guess this is quick, so like instantly snuffing the flame was no problem. The others now you can see have like regained their full enchant.
Okay. So I would yeah, I mean we can try again and just have someone else on standby to like pull it out without Augustus freaking out and dropping the spell.
I didn't freak out.
This is out of character. I would have said
character. Nettie, can you get ready to catch it as I do it?
Yep, I can.
Okay, so Decrane and Enid and Andy, are you guys going to prep to catch as Augustus lights?
Yep.
Okay. So each of you can roll sleight of hand or dexterity with advantage as you're preparing, knowing it's coming. And Augustus is going to light the remaining 4. And we'll see what happens with the 4th one in this case.
Thank fuck.
So,
advantage.
Well, your advantage at 17 was good. So I'm just going to go in the order that I see you guys. So Enid is going to go for the first one. What did you roll sleight of hand?
19.
Great.
Nice.
The ring pops and the paper catches flame, but instantly you've got it and snuff it out in your fingers instantly. The paper unrolls, no issue. The second one pops. Decrane, what did you get?
20.
Instantly grabbed, no problem. Unrolled, unfurled. The third one is good. Andy, the 4th one opens.
Was a natural 1 and a 19, so dirty 20.
Prepped and ready, grabbed in a fist. And the 5th and final pops. With everyone already having taken their action, Augustus, it comes to you. No advantage, straight roll, sleight of hand. Or dexterity.
6. I think that's the one I rolled last time.
Oh.
Wait, do I have a reaction? I don't have a great portent, but I have an okay one.
It's probably better.
It's better than
Technically,
6.
You held an action to catch. So that is a reaction. It would go to like a new round. The flame begins to burn away at the paper. Anyone can act freely with a sleight of hand check, but it's only 1 per round.
Can I get Toot Sweet to do it?
Sure.
Okay.
Rip Toot Sweet out, firearm off. Can Toot Sweet roll a high enough
Come on.
dexterity or
Toot
sleight of
Sweet.
hand check?
Toot Sweet has great decks. That's what I know for sure.
No. 10.
A 10, unfortunately, Toot Sweet lands on the paper and like just spins in it, and it just begins to kick sparks and fire.
Oh.
Unfortunately, it begins to burn. That is going to take about half of the page away. There's one last remaining check at disadvantage at this point because now there's a slightly flaming squirrel involved.
Decrane, you got to do it. You got good decks, Decrane. Come on. Decrane, roll a d20 twice. Take the lower.
It's still sleight of hand. You can try and quickly grab sleight of hand at disadvantage.
8. Plus,
Okay.
But
Plus what?
a disadvantage or what?
It's a disadvantage. What's your sleight of hand check?
Oh, plus 3.
So 11. Okay.
Roll again for disadvantage.
Yeah. Roll again. Can you do Better or worse than 11?
12.
That
And
would be
you're-
better.
Is your portent better than 11?
It's an
It's
11 on the dice. So that plus your dex is better than.
So you use your portent?
Mhm.
Okay.
I use
Um,
I didn't send them to you.
What you did? What could have been a devastating turn of events for Tootsweet turns into a beautiful moment where DeCrane scoops Tootsweet up and pulls the two away, dousing the flame in one hand and holding Tootsweet high in the other. You now have all 5 slips of paper, and under Andromeda's eyes can read: "We go where the hour is latest. We dive into hell and bring forth the dawn. We are the last light and the front line, the vigilant and the sword. In life we serve, in death our deeds echo in the cosmos. Allies in the infinite."
Cool. I missed most of that. Trying to write it down.
You don't need to write it down. I can send it to you.
So cool. So cool.
Yeah.
But if you say it out loud, if you speak any of these lines out loud, you watch the dragon's eye begin to twist and shift to reveal a keyhole.
Hey, there we go. Reach up.
Inside the mouth, you hear you peek inside, and you can see the back, like where the throat would be, has dropped away a platform to reveal a staircase.
Let's go.
Super
As you
cool. We almost
descend.
fucked that up so bad.
We definitely did.
As you descend within to whatever may lay ahead for your party and with the Infinite Alliance, throw end tonight and pick up next time.
Oh, so good.
Oh, I'm
we
so
almost
excited.
to that. We'd have to go to Isaac and be like, "Wait, we got so close. We burnt the last one. Can you tell us what that last one was?"
It's all good. It's all good.